Okay, you guys get 2 videos this week. There was no title for Impact this week, so I'm going to call this show Night of 1,000 Entrances. I mean, seriously, there were so many fucking ring entrances on this show. You know, I'll never understand why when they have to bring out a whole bunch of guys for, you know, a segment or a match or something, they don't just play the generic Impact music or Raw music or SmackDown music and just have them all come out at once. I mean seriously, it would save so much time. But whatever. Anyway, the Go Home show before Sacrifice I thought was a very solid show, and something that deserves to be mentioned here. There's been a noticeable difference on Impact lately, as far as TNA giving the matches more time and knowing where and when to place commercial breaks throughout the show so that the matches aren't being constantly interrupted. And this has made a huge difference in the show over the last couple of weeks. And this week, every match on the show was uninterrupted except for the Kip James match. And I'm pretty sure nobody wanted to see that one anyway. No offense to Matt Morgan, who I do like a lot. So it's really nice to see TNA finally start to get a clue about this. I mean, if you have to interrupt the match with commercials, you leave the main event alone, you leave the X Division alone, and you interrupt a Kip James match or a Black Rain match. You know, interrupt a match that nobody's going to give a crap about. And speaking of the X Division, there was an X Division match on the show finally, and you know, my God, it's about damn time too. I mean, it's only been what, fucking 3 weeks since the last one. I mean, anyway, it was a great 6-man match. Unfortunately, this is the match where Petey Williams got injured, so it kind of puts a question mark on his title reign right now. So let's all hope he's okay. If he's not, you know, the Terror Dome match at Sacrifice might end up being for the title itself and not just a title shot. As for the Terror Dome, they went and announced the participants for the match, and now I'm a lot more interested in seeing this thing. I thought it was just going to be another clusterfuck like Cuffed in a Cage was at Lockdown, where they take pretty much everyone on the roster who didn't have a pay-per-view spot and just throw them in the ring at the same time. But they trimmed the fat out of it this time. They're keeping all the losers out of the match, which means that the Jobber Monsters are sitting on the bench this Sunday. Thank you, Jesus. Basically, it's going to be 10 X Division guys in there, which I'm just thrilled about because I wasn't looking forward to a pay-per-view with no X Division matches. It's going to be Jay Lethal, Sanjay Dutt, Chris Sabin, Alex Shelley, Kaz, Curryman, Shark Boy, Johnny Devine, Jimmy Rave, and Consequences Creed. Winner gets the first title shot against Petey Williams. Now, I have no idea why Jay Lethal isn't getting, you know, an automatic rematch for the title, since he didn't really have a fair opportunity against Petey Williams in the first place, but I don't want him to get the belt back anyway, so I'm not going to complain about that. And now I am officially excited for the Terror Dome match. And you know what? Whether it's awesome, whether it sucks, you know, either way, it's a match that we've never seen before. You know, unless you've seen AAA, which I think is where they got the idea. So it's going to be worth watching on that basis alone. And you know what? You throw 10 X Division guys in there, and man, that thing could be High Spot City. Seriously. So I'm looking forward to that. Also on this show, they added another twist to the Knockout Makeover Britney Spears match thing. They gave one woman immunity from getting her head shaved this Sunday, so if that woman is the first runner-up at Sacrifice, then the second runner-up is the one who gets her head shaved, or something like that. And you know what? Okay, here's a gripe that I have with this, alright? If it takes Jim Cornette literally 5 minutes just to explain the rules of a match, and then you have to rewind it and watch that segment again just to make sure that you've got everything straight, that means the match is too fucking complicated. Seriously, TNA. Anyway, they had a clipper on a pole match to see which woman gets the immunity. And let me say this, I hate pole matches! Okay, I have always hated pole matches. I think they're retarded, I've said that before. But this wasn't that bad, okay? It wasn't great because pole matches just suck in general, but there were some pretty cool spots in this match. Everyone worked hard, and the Tower of Doom spot never gets old. Never gets old. And I get a big kick out of it when the women do it too, so that was cool. Gail Kim won, which means Gail Kim will not be getting her head shaved at Sacrifice, thank God. I did not want to see that happen. Gail Kim is just way too good looking to get the Molly Holly treatment. So, as far as who might get their head shaved this Sunday, you know, it could be a couple of people. They were definitely teasing Angelina last week, even though that would totally kill her gimmick. But I'm going to go with Raka Khan because of the rumors going around that management's kind of pissed off at her right now because of the trading card thing. And if we've learned anything about the TNA creative team by now, it's that these people like to hold grudges. So I'm going to go with Rocket Khan. Rocket Khan, bald as a cue ball this Sunday. That's my prediction. Of course, they also went and announced 2 of the singles teams for the Deuces Wild thing. Now, I stand by what I said before about this tournament, okay? I still don't like it, but I will say that this is starting to present some interesting situations. As it turns out, they're not just being used to add a lot of weirdness to a tournament that already had way too much, which was actually my main complaint about it. So they're now using it as sort of a vehicle to advance some other separate feuds like Sting and James Storm, and that's a feud that I like a lot, so I'm glad they're not dropping that. Although I will say James Storm really needs to get a win over Sting at some point if this feud is going to have legs, because he's jobbed Sting like two or three times now. So he needs to get a win on Sting. So anyway, this is a nice example of TNA making the best of a bad idea. You know, I did not like the Deuces Wild thing at first, but it's actually turned into something pretty interesting. So I like the end result, I just don't like how it got there. And they're definitely pushing LAX as a force in this tournament now. I expect LAX to win the tournament. I think they should win the tournament. They deserve to win the tournament. I'll be pissed off if they don't win the tournament. And that's all I'm going to say as far as that goes. But I do need to add an addendum to what I said about last week about the Awesome Kong thing. The more I think about it, the more I don't like it, okay? Because the way I see it, Awesome Kong in the Deuces Wild tournament can only play out one of 3 ways. Number 1, they have Kong get overpowered by the men, which will make Awesome Kong look weak. Number 2, they have Awesome Kong be competitive in the men, which will make the other knockouts look weak. And number 3, they have Awesome Kong dominate the men, which will make the men and the other knockouts look weak. So however this goes, I can't really see anything good coming out of this angle. And yeah, I think it probably will create some interest for the pay-per-view, but I don't think that's going to be worth the damage it could do. You know, I'm going to wait and see how it plays out, but still, this one makes me pretty nervous. Of course, they continue to hype up the Triple Threat main event, and they've done a pretty decent job of making Scott Steiner look like a main eventer again these last few weeks. Not a great job, but a decent job. I still expect him to do the job on Sunday. But the real question is Kurt Angle right now. Apparently, he got dropped on his neck and he got dropped on his head in Korea and hurt his neck again. So I think he's going to gut it out in the match, but it might be it may be Joe and Steiner doing most of the work after all. So we'll see what happens with that one. So anyway, that's the card for Sacrifice, and I'll give TNA credit here. The show looks a lot more interesting on paper right now than it had any right to a couple weeks ago. I think this could turn into a pretty good pay-per-view, but a lot of that is going to hinge on how well they execute this. You know, it could be really cool, or it could be a train wreck. So I advise everyone to cross your fingers on that, just as I am preparing to do. Order Sacrifice this Sunday, May 11th. That's all I got. See you next week.